Welcome to Freedom Motivated with Christina Whiteley, the podcast that empowers you to live life on your terms. Are you uninspired, bored, and unhappy with where life has taken you? And yearning for a life filled with purpose and passion? Look no further. We are here to ignite that fire within, to awaken your true potential, and to guide you on a journey towards absolute freedom. Join us as we delve into the minds of incredible entrepreneurs and freedom leaders from very different backgrounds with incredible stories. Be inspired by their resilience and learn from their challenges they faced along the path to success. These are the brave individuals who fight every day to awaken people to the power of self-responsibility and who inspire them to create a life they are absolutely in love with. Each episode will explore the concept of conscious income creation, building a business or creating a career that aligns with your unique skill set, purpose, values, and belief system. Discover the strategies, tips, and invaluable insights shared by our guests as they guide you towards making a living doing what you love. It's time to break free from the shackles of conformity and embrace the freedom that awaits. Are you ready to take control of your life? Are you ready to step into the life you've always dreamed of? Then welcome to Freedom Motivated, the podcast that will ignite your spirit and unleash your potential. Hello, it's Christina Whiteley, and welcome to another episode of Freedom Motivated. But this is a very special series that I'm doing. This is episode number 3 of a 6-part series called A New Era of Leadership. And I've been thinking about this a lot for the last year and watching entrepreneurs struggle through the good times, the bad times in business, and watching them crumble and count themselves out when really it's the time to dig in. And so today the topic is aligning your identity to your highest purpose. And I'm really excited to talk about this because it is all about climbing to the top of that second mountain. A lot of us climbed to the top of the first mountain. We've experienced some success. We've made some money. We felt good about ourselves, but that first mountain, and if you haven't read David Brooks' The Second Mountain, the first mountain is all about significance. It's about you proving to yourself your worth. But once you know your worth, the second mountain is the one that you climb with purpose, with passion. It's a lifelong journey that you start to embrace. And so we're going to talk about that today. But first, I want to do a quick review about what we talked about the last couple of weeks. And if you haven't had a chance to listen to those 2 podcasts, I would advise to go back and listen to them because the series will bring you to a place that in 2024, you will be able to take your business leadership to the next level. You will be able to stand out in a crowd. You'll be able to become a market leader in your industry. And that's what I want for you. I want for you to have a voice and to be heard amongst all the noise. And so the first week we talked about mastering your mindset and what it's going to take to lead in the industry right now. And I will go into more detail with that as we go later on into the podcast series. But we talked about how to own your emotions and how to reflect on them to get better. Next week, I'm going to give you some tools and tips on how I've been able to evolve really quickly with the feedback that I've gotten online and from mentors and from masterminds. It's something that has allowed me to gain success a lot faster and clarity on where I'm going. The second week, last week, we talked about how to stand out and fill a gap by finding solutions to new problems that are presenting themselves in the marketplace right now. So it's not about doing the same thing over and over and over again and trying to create the same result. It's actually about solving new problems. It's about showing up differently. It is a constant reinvention of who you are at the level that you're at. So as you grow, as you learn, as you do personal development, as you learn different skill sets, you will constantly up-level your business because you'll see things a little bit differently. Have you ever read a book and it didn't quite hit home, or it hit home in a certain way, and then you picked up that book again? Like, there are multiple books that I read multiple times, and every time I read those books, I get something more out of it because I've grown and I've changed. And so we talked about how to find purpose and long-term vision that separates us from the rest. Because right now, when things get really challenging, this is when people tend to go back to what worked before, or they go back to what's comfortable. And so we're going to talk about how to break through that today and some of the things that you can do to move ahead and not get held back by self-limiting beliefs or by self-sabotage. We're going to talk about the way to build strong business, long-term sustainable business, and how your skills grow and change over time. And so I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. It's really about having conviction in your business through your values and your beliefs and your unique life experience. And so we're going to carry on from that conversation from last week. And we're going to talk about aligning your identity to the highest purpose. So this is a lifelong commitment. This is the journey, right? Most people get frustrated that they're not farther ahead right now. And I totally understand that, because I've been through those places that I should, be making more money right now. I should have more success right now. I should have more attention on what I'm saying right now because it's so valuable to the marketplace. But it takes time and dedication to become somebody of value to those around you. And you have to commit to the long-term vision of what you are here to do. And so one of my mentors said that success is an identity process. And when he said that, something clicked in me. Something made me realize, okay, well, if you truly want success, you have to be there first in your belief, right? You have to know what you're going for, because once you have that convicted belief, that unshakable faith in what you're creating because of your skill set. And maybe you're questioning your skill set, and that's okay. Maybe you're questioning where you're at in your business, and you're wondering if this is even something that you should continue. But each and every one of us has an opportunity to move forward. Each and every one of us has the opportunity to learn skills and get better and stand out amongst the crowd. And so what I realized when he said that is that your success is all about your mindset. And so if you see yourself ahead of the game, if you see yourself and your next step and the step after that, they may evolve, but you will continue to grow on a day-to-day basis, as opposed to start questioning the things that may hold you back. And so it's about a lifetime commitment to learning and to personal growth. And this is something that I've been invested in, oh my goodness, for over 20 years. Once I realized, the difference between set mindset and a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, I realized that I could become whoever I wanted to be. I could get the knowledge, I could surround myself with like-minded people, I could learn from mentors and masterminds. I could become the person required to get the results that I wanted. And that's what aligning your identity to your highest purpose is. It's understanding what you want to do in the future, that big, bold dream. Maybe it's standing on stage in front of thousands of people and sharing your message. Maybe it's influencing, sharing a positive influence with thousands of people and helping them build something of significance. Maybe it's getting your product or service to market and truly helping people that need it, right? And so we've all heard the quote in the process, fake it till you make it. Right? Fake it till you make it, because there's always uncertainty. There's always questions. But I don't want you to fake anything. I want you to master the one thing that you're passionate about, your purpose, right? And I want you to seek it until you see it. And what I mean by that is there will be challenges, there will be adversity, there will be things that you will have to overcome that'll set you back. Sometimes in the growth process, you have to commit to a phase of learning and development for a year, sometimes a few years before you get the result that you want. But I want you to commit to seeking it until you see it in front of you, right? The only people that lose are the people that quit, and they go back to what they were doing before because it's comfortable. And I've realized over the last few years that really putting yourself in a place of discomfort, putting yourself in a place completely outside your comfort zone, is really the only way to grow and learn. So you've got to give up good to have great, right? If you're living an ordinary life that is pretty easy, not that good, not that bad, you've got to give up that ordinary to have extraordinary. And you have to start working at a different pace. You learn that people that are successful and highly successful have a different rhythm. They step up their game. They learn how to utilize their time better. They find pockets of the day where maybe they're exercising and listening to personal development, or they're waiting in line for their kids at school and they're making a quick phone call with a client or a customer, and they're providing a higher level of value and service to the marketplace. And so if you think about it this way, you can't fly first class without giving up your seat and coach, right? So you've got to be willing to give up where you are. Sometimes you've got to give up a job or a career that isn't serving you anymore. Sometimes you've got to give up a group of friends or create a boundary with family members that are contributing negatively to your mindset. But you've got to be able to protect your mind and your inner circle with everything that you have, because we are going to face self-sabotage, self-limiting beliefs. We're going to face that critical point where we either move forward in an uncomfortable, unsure way, or we step back into what made us feel really comfortable and the thing that we know is a surefire thing. So I'll give you an example. When asked if you lost your sole source of income today, what would you do? Where would you go? How would you fix that problem? Most people would go back to a job that they've done before. So if 90% of people would go back to that previous job. And when I was asked this question, my initial flash thought was, I go back to doing hair because I know that I could make money cutting hair. I know that it's a skill set. I know that that is something that is a surefire thing that I could network and do. Because when moving forward in business, there's some uncertainty, right? So that was my snap answer to that question. But I took a pause, I took a deep breath in and thought, what do I truly want? What do I want to do in the future? Who do I want to become? And this is where we need to dig deep and find the courage to persevere to a higher level. This is where we realize if what's working, not working right now, and if something happened to our career or job right now, would we be willing to put ourselves out there to create creative solutions for the future moving forward? Because that's where success comes into place. If you're willing to evolve, if you're willing to reinvent yourself, if you're willing to do more than most people to create what you want. You see, most people feel that courage is something that they could use a little bit more of, but competency, what your ability is to complete what you start, that's what breeds courage. When you do what you say you're going to do, you build confidence, and that confidence is built over time. And it's built even more so when you go through adversity and challenges, when you have those struggles that you just will not quit on because you know that your purpose is bigger than the challenge that's in front of you. When you know that there's a higher calling, when your intuition is calling you to do more, those are the things that you can't give up on. And the truth of the matter is, it's not enough to talk the talk anymore, right? We've all seen people maybe online or maybe people in person that we know are big talkers, but you must walk the walk. You must represent what you believe in and have conviction doing it, right? You must lead with conviction. And those beliefs that you have that you're convicted in will be the thing that will challenge a lot of people, right? And so that's why you have to be really convicted in your beliefs and what you're creating, because you're going to hear a lot of feedback. And next week, we're going to talk about how to use these situations to evolve. And I'm going to give you an example. When we moved to Mexico, we knew that it wasn't going to be a popular choice. Our family was a little bit concerned about us. Friends, people were like, what the heck are they doing leaving Canada, going to Mexico? But my husband and I had a different belief system. We believed in the family unit. We believed in strong family values. And we knew that if we stayed in Canada, a couple of things were going to happen. Number one, she was going to have a lot of influence in the education system, which quite frankly is not something I'm really impressed by right now. And so we had decided 2 months of her being in kindergarten at a French immersion school that we were going to pull her from that school because we knew that we could do a better job educating her. And the first 7 years of her life would be something that created who she became, would influence the decisions that she makes. And really, we wanted to be her sole role model in that space because we have these very strong values we wanted to raise her with. And so we weren't happy with the education that she was getting. We weren't happy with the healthcare system after going through 2 miscarriages in BC through COVID. I knew that I could have better care somewhere else. I knew that I could pay to have better care somewhere else. And instead of it costing us tens of thousands of dollars, we could pay less in Mexico and have specialists that would be able to help us, right? And most people will sit around and they'll complain about the education system. They'll complain about the government. They'll complain about healthcare. They'll complain about how much money they make. But they do nothing to act on it. And so you must be convicted enough in your beliefs that you're willing to act. That's how we led in these last couple of years. That's how we became leaders in our field. That's how we gained international attention, moving from one country to another and being convicted in those beliefs and saying, hey, we don't need to live like this broke when we're making all this money. We don't need to live like this broke, paying taxes and being buried by a system that is not working for us. We can choose different. And I remember that thought process when I was a hairstylist, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But when I was a hairstylist, I hit a glass ceiling in the salon that I was working at. And then I realized when I was pregnant with my daughter that I wouldn't be able to continue working the hours I was working, 12 to 9, 4 days a week, and then working every single weekend. If I wanted to be the parent that I wanted to be, if I wanted to be the mom that I wanted to be, I wanted to be way more present than that. And I didn't want to miss out on those first few years, right? That was so important to me. And I had to make different choices. I had to step wildly outside of my comfort zone to change careers. I get a lot of comments on my content when I post about moving to Mexico, and people saying, well, that's great for you, but I could never, I could never leave my job. And it's like, no, actually, that is a choice to stay with your job and not choose other options that allow you to have a different freedom. So if you really wanted to move to a different country, you could change careers. And people do that all the time now. And so it's really starting to make decisions that are based in alignment and saying no to everything else, right? And so I really want you to understand that the opinions and the pushback, those are going to happen anyways. Those judgments of you putting yourself out there before it's popular, because that's what leadership is all about, is being convicted in your beliefs, seeing something before other people see it, and standing for what you truly believe in. It's that hill you're willing to die on. We talked about that a little bit last week. But you're going to get opinions and pushback and judgments from that. But what I can tell you on the other side is that you're also going to get mass amount of attention and opportunity. And all it is separating season, right? It just separates those that are not meant to be in front of you with those that are. And you're going to gather more attention and more momentum in your business when you have an opinion, when you stand up for what you believe in, right? And the truth is, you can't have one without the other. It's something that is part of business growth. It's part of success. And the more intelligence that you create through your emotions, the more emotional intelligence that you have, the easier it is for you to ignore the things that don't serve you and learn from the rest. And so what happens is most people stick to what's comfortable. If a new opportunity doesn't work out, they go back to their old habits instead of persevering through challenges. But that's not what we're going to do when we're up leveling to our highest purpose, right? Unfortunately, there's this place where we beat ourselves up, as a human condition, we're constantly questioning, we're constantly trying to keep ourselves safe, and our mind is playing tricks on us. And so a lot of people count themselves out instead of being a creative problem solver, instead of saying, hey, what I'm doing right now isn't working. What could be the next thing that I do? What could be the next thing that I could do? What's a solution, or what's the gap in the marketplace that I'm not filling right now? And so I'm going to give you the example. I talked a little bit about the salon, but I want to go into a little bit more detail. So I initially went to school for music. I went to school for vocal jazz in Toronto and realized I didn't want to be a starving artist. Okay. I wanted to actually build business. I wanted to do something that would allow me to create my own schedule. So I started back then thinking about the schedule that I wanted. I didn't want anyone to tell me when I had or had to work. Had or didn't have to work, I guess I should say. I didn't want to be confined to a 2-week or 4-week holiday every single year that I had to book in January. I wanted to have freedom. I wanted to have control of what I was doing. Okay. And so I decided that I was going to leave something that I loved to create the lifestyle that I wanted. And I say that not because it was easy, but because it was a conscious choice at 23 to do something different. And so I decided that I was going to be a hairstylist. Why? Because I love being social. I love being around people. I love making people feel good. I knew that I could work from home when I had babies, right? So I made decisions based on the lifestyle that I wanted, not on the income that I wanted. And I continued to do this over the years, but also increase my income at the same time. And so I worked at the salon for 5.5 years. And it was the best salon in the city. It was one that had a junior program where we got to learn and grow our skills. But what I realized very quickly in that salon of about 50 people, including stylists and assistants and receptions and all that kind of stuff, right? I hit my glass ceiling 5 years in. And that glass ceiling was when I went in to talk to a manager. We have like, quarterly reviews. And I realized that my glass ceiling that I hit was $36,000 a year because she told me that even though I'd hit all my markers, I'd brought people in. I have a full clientele. I have a great retention rate. I was selling the most products in the salon. I had hit all the markers of getting a promotion and becoming a senior stylist at the salon so I could charge more and make more commission. There was a gentleman that had 11 years experience and I only had 5. And she said, well, I can't move you up to that level because the gentleman at that level doesn't have the same skill set as you. And it's not fair. And so I realized right then, okay, so even though I have more education, I bring in more clients, I have all the retention, the sales, I've specialized in my education, you still won't move me there because move me up to that senior stylist position because he has 11 years experience and I only have 5. So here's my glass ceiling. And I looked at her and I said, well, what do you expect me to do? If I want to make more money, like I have to work at the bar on the weekends. I can't pay my rent with this. I can't eat with this income in the city. I'm going to have to leave the city if I just want to continue down the path of this career. And I don't want to bartend until 2:30 in the morning for the rest of my life. That was something I picked up because I couldn't afford to live here on this salary. So now what? Or I guess on this commission base. And so she said, well, you can do what I do, and you could take some weddings on the side because you're really good at wedding hair. You could start building up a brand over there. And so what I decided was I would take some clients for weddings and I would do their trial in the salon. I'd do their color in the salon and all that kind of stuff. But if they wanted an on-site service, or if they worked on, or their weddings were on days that I had off, I would work on my days off. I'd up-leveled how much I could charge people because I up-leveled my skills, figuring out where I could make more money. And I would take that business on my day off to make more money. Okay. Well, as time goes on, I'm making a little bit more money. And I said, okay, so I'm doing this on the side, but also I'm still not making the kind of money that I want to make. Like you guys, as senior stylists, you're making $100,000 a year. I'm still not making that. And she said, well, maybe you could take a couple of friends at home on the side and they could pay you cash. And that was all that I needed to hear. And so I went home that day and talked to my husband, and we set up a little salon at the house with a sink and a station and all that kind of stuff. And one day a week, I went down to 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week at the salon. And one day a week, I would take my friends at home. Well, very quickly, that one day a week, I was making more money in that one day a week than I was the 4 days that I was working at the salon. And I realized the value of being my own business. I realized the value of owning that business and being able to control the money, right? And so I had to build competency and then confidence through having the courage to do something different and having hard conversations. The problem with the whole situation is the owner of the salon was not privy to those conversations. And so one day, the owner had come in and she hadn't really been present in the salon for a year, a couple of years. And so she came in and somebody was at the front desk asking for my wedding service because I'd started to build up a name for myself. And the owner came to me and said, hey, so this woman is looking for on-site wedding services. Are you offering that? And I said, on my days off, I offer that, but I bring them into the salon. They do their hair color here. They do their trial here. And then on my day off, I'll go do the wedding. And she said, absolutely not. You cannot do that. And she had every right to say that, by the way. It was her salon. She can do whatever she wants because I was working for her. And that moment, she gave me an ultimatum. She said, you have 2 weeks to decide. You can either do everything through the salon or you can no longer work here. And so I was beside myself because of the separate conversation I'd had with my manager, and I didn't know what to do next. And I was quite young at the time. I wasn't sure if I had the capacity to run my own business. I didn't go to school for business. I went to school for music, even though my heart was in entrepreneurship, and it'd be something that I I eat, sleep, and breathe since I was very, very young. But I was scared. I was really nervous to step out on my own and do something different. And so I went home. I had this big conversation with my husband. I was in tears. And he said, well, why not? Why can't you do this? And I said, you're right. Why can't I do this? I built my clientele. They're loyal to me. They want to see me. I'll continue to build my wedding business. Why can't I? And so I went back to the salon, and as a last ditch effort, I offered her a partnership. And I said, what about if I came into the salon and I ran an on-site team from here, because that's really where my passion is doing weddings. It's a lot of fun for me. What if I ran the team? And she very quickly said she wasn't interested in another partnership and wasn't interested in another manager. And I said, okay. So now the line was drawn in the sand, and I had to make a really difficult decision. What was I going to do next? And so I decided with with a leap of faith that I was going to open my own salon. I was going to work out of my home and do on-site weddings. And it was terrifying. It was something totally outside of my comfort zone. I was so worried about my taxes and my bookkeeping, although I ended up hiring people for that so that I could just work in my zone of genius, which is something I highly recommend. If you're not good at something, hire an expert. But then the challenge came. And the challenge came when the owner of that salon called every single one of my clients and offered them a free service. And now this was November. And she offered them all a free service. Like I had friends that were calling me being like, I just got a call from the salon and they're offering this. As a brand new business owner, I couldn't offer that. I couldn't compete with that. With this massive, successful salon downtown, I couldn't compete with that. And so this was really a lesson in emotional intelligence and responding versus reacting. And so I took a day and I wanted to think about the long-term outcome of the salon and how I wanted to show up for my clients. And I realized, okay, it's right before Christmas. People are trying to save money. They want to buy more gifts for their family, for their friends, for their kids. What's the right thing to do? Not what do I want to do right now? What's the right thing to do? And so whenever a client would call me and tell me, I'd say, you know what? Go take that free service. It's right before Christmas. You can use the extra money. Go take the free service. I'd love to see you in January or February. And that's what I did with every single client that mentioned it to me. Now, there were clients that didn't take advantage of that because the salon was offering those services with a junior stylist, so not somebody with my expertise. There were some people that did take advantage of that and wish that they didn't. But the way that I responded to that through one of the most difficult challenges when facing when you're opening a brand new business, when I responded in that way, I built trust with my clients because they realized that I cared more about them and their result and who they were and what would benefit them than I cared about my own paycheck. And I was lucky enough at that point in time that I was making enough money with friends. I was in my relationship with my husband at the time. We weren't married at the time, but was in a relationship with my husband at the time. And I was financially sound enough, even if I had to take a little bit of a pay cut, I was willing to move forward. Now, what happened was I almost tripled my income that first year because I really leaned into the wedding piece of it, knowing that there was a lot of money there. I started booking weddings every single weekend. I grew a team of almost 20 people, including makeup artists and hairstylists. I partnered with another makeup artist who had a huge makeup team. And then we came together and we were booking weddings together. So it just blew up. And we actually ended up making quite a name for ourselves on the island and in Victoria. And it was a really, really great business until things changed, right? When I was 7 months pregnant, I had a really bad injury. I had a really bad shoulder injury, and I'd suffered with this injury on and off for years, but it was the hormone relaxin in my body that was giving me this repetitive injury, a repetitive motion injury. It was one of those things that I could not continue working, and it scared the crap out of me. All of a sudden, my entire plan of working from home, being at home with my baby, it was out the window, gone. And it was terrifying. And I was like, what am I going to do next? So I tried for a couple of months to replace myself with different stylists. That was really difficult because people didn't come to see other people. They came to see me. They came to see my work or have, me do their hair, as well as have the conversations with me. I was the service. And so I couldn't leverage that. I couldn't leverage that time. I had to do something different. I had to think about what do I want to do in the future? If I created this career that I could work around having children, that I could work around being present, that I could work with my own hours and decide when and where I wanted to work, how was I going to pivot into the future? What was I going to do next? Right? I kept asking myself, what would create the lifestyle and the income I want? What would I enjoy doing? And I knew that I loved helping people. I knew that I loved building confidence in people. And so this was about the 7, 8 month mark of being pregnant. And so I sat on that for 4 to 6 weeks. And a few weeks after Izzy was born, I saw this girl that I'd been following on social media. And she, over the years, I kind of followed her journey. And the funny part is, I had met her at the bar when I was bartending, and she would come in with her friends and dance the night away, and I knew she was a house cleaner. And so I saw her over the last year build this income where she no longer had to clean houses, where she was present with her kids, and she was making $20,000 a month sitting at the beach with her kids while I was getting up in the morning and doing weddings. Well, I was getting up through my entire pregnancy at 5 a.m. on Saturdays doing weddings and really sick in the process. And I thought, what does she have that I don't? And when I actually sat and thought about that question, the answer was nothing. There's no reason that yet you can't put your name in the ring. There's no reason that you can't be somebody that you want to become. There's no reason that you can't learn the skill set. So Izzy was about 2 weeks old. I might have had a bit of postpartum because I just didn't really know how to function with this new baby and what was I going to do next. And so I called this girl over and I said, you got to tell me what you do. And she's like, I sell these products online. It's a residual income. We continue to build. You can build a team. You can help other moms make money. The products have helped me, lose my baby weight. And I'm like, this is what I need in my life, right? No idea it was network marketing, by the way. Like, I didn't even know what network marketing was, to be perfectly honest. All I know was this girl was sitting at the beach making $20,000 a month with her kids. And I was like, what have I done wrong in my life that I'm not doing that? And now some people have a good experience with network marketing. Some people have had a bad experience with network marketing. What I can tell you is you get what you put into it. And I was willing to do anything it took to create an income that would allow me the time freedom to spend with my daughter. Because quite frankly, I didn't think that I'd ever get to be a stay-at-home mom. I knew that we would need a dual income. I knew that we would need to both focus on creating a financial stability in our home if we wanted to live a higher quality of life. And so what I realized in this whole process is that we all have transferable skills, right? It's really rare these days to have a 30 or 40-year career. Most people are adapting and adjusting course, right, to balance out what's happening in the marketplace and to get ahead. How are we supposed to get ahead if we're not constantly evolving, right? And in this new era, it's all about committing to your long-term vision and purpose. It's about standing for what you believe in and evolving into the best version of yourself. So back then, the best version of myself envisioned sitting on the beach with my family. It is not lost on me. It is the irony is not lost on me that we now live in Mexico, that we get to live that life every single day, that it was a life that I dreamed of as a kid, to be able to travel the world with my family and have those experiences and make memories with them. But I had no idea how that was going to happen. I just knew that that's what my dream was. And now the decisions that I make are facilitating those dreams. And so whether you feel like you're stuck in a position where you can't have that time freedom, that's not true. You can build out a team, right? You can use AI to your advantage. You can figure out the way that'll allow you to take the time off, allow you to enjoy what you truly love and build something of significance. But you have to commit to becoming the best version of yourself. And so I asked you before, if your primary income disappears, what would you do? Where would you go? And a lot of the times people go back to what's comfortable instead of forging a new path forward. And in this new era of leadership, you have to be willing to do something different if you want a different result. You have to be willing to show up differently. You have to be willing to trust your intuition and step into conviction in your beliefs and your values and your purpose and create something of significance that will help people around you and create an impact and a ripple effect with everybody else that is truly a long-term plan. Now, we do short-term and long-term goals. We make sure that we have an action plan. All of those pieces are really important. But successful entrepreneurs will lean into their intuition. They'll lean into what's next, what new problem that they can solve right now. And they'll develop and commit to learning more and doing more to stand out and lead. And that's what you're being called to do right now if you're listening, right? You're being called to be a leader in the marketplace. You're being called to step up your game and become better, right? If you want to win, then you need to do things better than other people. And so instead of always comparing myself, I started studying my competition. How could I do it better? How could I create a higher level program? How could I create better results faster for my clients? How could I support them more in an economy that was fluctuating at a very quick rate and changing so quickly? And so I decided that I was going to spend more time live with people as opposed to putting out a course, as opposed to trying to sell small ticket items, right? I believe that getting in the trenches with your clients and building a significant long-term business, to me, to see them get those results was so worth my time that I was willing to do more than other people in the industry. And that's what's allowed me to stand out. That's what's allowed me to work with higher quality people that want bigger results because they know that I'm in it for them. And that can also sometimes get lost in network marketing, by the way, especially if you're a leader. I know that I've literally worked people off of my team because I've seen their purpose and their passion lies elsewhere, and maybe they were hanging on to it because of their loyalty with me, but I saw a bigger version and vision for them of themselves and was willing to sacrifice whatever, whatever partnership we had in business for their greater good. And when you learn how to take yourself out of it and serve people at a higher level, no matter what that circumstance is, right? Do what's best for them versus what's best for you. You're always going to win. Okay. And this is where, it comes down to creating different offers with results that are so good that people seek you out, right? That people can't wait to refer you because they got so much out of your program. That has been such a beautiful thing over the past couple of years, is building a significant referral program. It's how I built my entire salon business. Actually, I never did any sort of marketing. All I did was ask my clients, if you know anybody that's like you. I didn't offer this to the jerks that were coming in. I just offer it to the people that I loved, right? You don't have to offer your referral program to everyone. But I offered it to the people that I really loved and said, if there are people out there that are like you, that love your hair, that want to look, want to save a little bit of money, instead of spending $300 or $400 at the salon I used to work at, they can come here and spend $200, then I would love to have them as a client. And that changed everything. And I created very loyal customers, very loyal clients. I also created a very substantial referral business. And so when I got into online business coaching, I did the exact same thing. I put people first. And that's really what you need to do right now. And we're going to talk a little bit about this right now because you need to build business based on relationships and referrals instead of transactions. And now when I first got into business, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but when I first got into business, it was about making money. Can I prove out a concept? Can I make money doing this, right? But as time goes on, and the money problem is solved, you realize there has to be some significance behind what you do if you want to do it long term, and you want to commit to being the best of the best. You want to commit to being the person that stands out, the unignorable choice, right? And so I'll give you an example. When I first got into network marketing, or when I first got into hair, I would talk to everybody and anybody I would talk to. Just come in, get a service. Everybody went on my quote hundreds list. How many of you guys have heard about a hundreds list? If you haven't, it's just writing down a list of names of 100 people that you know, and then you harass them about business. Okay. But that whole piece of business has changed. Now, although volume will help you, right? Connecting and sharing and building business with the masses will help move the needle forward. It's not what will help you long term. It'll just help you with transactions and making money in real time, not long term big money. And so over the last year, what I've taught my clients, what I've taught my team members to do is take a list of 100 people that you absolutely love, people that you admire, people that you really enjoy speaking to, people that you really would love to spend a little bit more time with, and put them on a list that you want to nurture. And that list that you are nurturing, that list, whether you're nurturing through phone call, through email, through messaging on social media, through commenting on their stuff, just showing up in their life, asking questions and putting them first, those 100 people are not necessarily people that you are going to sell to. They're not necessarily people that are going to be on your team. They're not necessarily people that are going to work alongside you. Okay. Those people you're building a significant relationship with because you see value in them, because you enjoy their company. See, we all get to choose who we work with. We all get to choose who our clients and our customers are. But when you're intentional this way and you know exactly who you're looking for and who you value in your life, when you make a list like this, you build serious long-term relationships. And it's not like you touch base with them once or twice a year. It's that you continue to evolve that relationship and become of service and of value to them. And so often you're offering them something first. How could I refer your services? What could I do for you? How can I support you right now? Are questions that are very, very valuable when you're building these kind of relationships. And guess what happens? They start to refer you back. They start to be involved in your life. They start to become people that value you and share what you do. And so when you take the time to build these relationships long term instead of chasing the transaction, you're building character, you're building trust, you're building a network, which is your net worth. And most people won't take the time to do this, but the people that do will be successful no matter what they evolve to become. Okay. And the other piece of this is you must say no to what doesn't serve you. To who doesn't serve you? To the people in your life that don't serve you. And by that, I don't mean they have to benefit you financially or anything like that, but emotionally, in support. Who are these people? If they aren't cheering for you, if they aren't in your corner, even when you're cheering for them, even when you're supporting them, then you can't spend a lot of energy there, because positive relationships have energy flowing both ways. Right? So you have to build a community of people who will praise you and recommend you in the room that you're not in. You have to build a community of people that you love and you trust. And when you say no to all the rest, right? Because sometimes, we picked up clients or customers that we did to make a buck. And those clients and customers we know are not in alignment with who we are and the value system that we have. And we end up losing long term because they end up becoming way more of a pain than they ever were a benefit to who and what we were trying to create. Okay. And so when you say no to the things that don't serve you and yes to only the things that do, you start to carve out a new path and you waste way less time on insignificant questions and concerns from people around you. You start asking better questions. You start seeking higher level solutions. You start having higher quality relationships, right? And so, yeah, sometimes saying no to what pays the bills is what you have to do. Like, I often operate a lot better when I don't have a safety net. Now, sometimes you need that money, your bread and butter money, right? Like, not always do you say no to the things that pay the bills, but it must be in alignment and you must choose to seek more. And you learn to embrace this discomfort, by the way, and you grow through the process. As you are choosing more, as you're putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, as you're learning new things, you will suck before you're good, right? I remember the whole online marketing space, my posting and my communication was terrible in the beginning. How I showed up, my public speaking, all of those things were absolutely terrible. But now I've had 8 years of repetition. And sometimes people say, well, your live videos are so good. They're so well put together. Well, do you know what my past is? Do you know that I started singing competitively when I was 7? Do you know that I did my local pageant, my provincial pageant, and my national pageant, and learned how to interview and learned how to speak and learned how to answer questions on the fly and have really great conversations with people? And so I talked a little bit about transferable skills, right? As a hairstylist, I knew how to create conversation with people. I knew how to make people feel good. I knew how to build relationships with them. All of those things helped me move forward in a positive way in other areas of business. And so you may be sitting on a gold mine right now with the skills that you have, but you're in the wrong arena. You're in the wrong space, right? And if you're not happy, you have to choose different. You have to grow through that process, and you have to put yourself out there and maybe leave something that isn't serving you, right? You have to give up good to have great. And this comes down to that growth and that fixed mindset, right? And so if you want to grow, having a fixed mindset keeps you small, it keeps you comfortable. And by that, I mean, you're only as good as you think you are at that time, right? But a growth mindset is what will help you continuously align to your highest identity. It will allow you to have the confidence to go learn new skills, to put yourself in the ring with people that you really admire, that you look up to have bigger conversations, to reach out to them, to ask better questions, to learn from them, right? And then you got to find ongoing support in the process, because as you grow, you level up your circle. And I know I don't talk about this a lot, but you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to work through all the challenges and trials and tribulations on your own. You have a team. I have a team of people that I have on speed dial, right? I have coaches and mentors and masterminds. I'm a huge advocate of counseling. After talking about emotional intelligence, we have to heal our trauma, childhood trauma, generational trauma, trauma from bad things that have happened to us, right? Because that's how we react. We have to heal that in order to become the best version of ourselves, not only for business, but for our families, for our marriage, for our kids, right? Sometimes I have these snap reactions to my daughter, and I realize, hey, I just need to take a breath for a second, and I'm going to choose to react differently. I'm going to choose to respond in a way that is positive towards her, even though it wasn't the behavior that was modeled for me. I'm going to choose different. And so we need people that we trust enough to have the hard conversations, that we trust enough to say, hey, I need you to call me on my shit right now. I need you to tell me if this is appropriate, or do I need to learn something here? Am I not seeing this clearly? And that can be really hard if you're sitting in a place of being triggered by your past trauma. And so I'm a huge advocate of having a counselor. I'm a huge advocate of EMDR and taking the emotion out of situations so you can see them more clearly as an adult, because a lot of the times when we're triggered, it's because we're being triggered and taken back to that place when it happened, when we were a kid or when we were a teenager, wherever that happened in our lifetime. And it's having the foresight and the self-awareness to choose different, right? And then you have to seek out people that are better than you so that you can learn from them, and learn to have boundaries with those who don't have your best interest at heart, right? I've definitely had those people that I've trusted and brought into my life because I wanted to help them. I wanted to make things better for them. I wanted to be a positive influence in their life, but then it backfired on me. And so you want to surround yourself and choose to surround yourself with people of higher level thinking, people that are solution oriented, people that are positive, people that are constantly seeking creative solutions, people that you can trust to talk to, and people that have your best interest at heart and that are willing to show you their blind spots in a way that is constructive. And so when you start surrounding yourself with these higher level thinkers, you learn to ask better questions. You develop this self-awareness, and you seek to get better daily. You reflect and adjust course. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit more next week, about how to take information on a daily, weekly, monthly basis and use that to get better, even if you're failing, even if you're struggling, even if you're facing challenges. What do you learn in the process, and how can you adjust course? And that self-awareness will allow you to make conscious choices and have critical conversations and seek the feedback that it takes to become a leader. It'll help you have an action plan that you can actually stick to when you set those long and those short-term goals. It'll help you be really specific and hone in on what you want, and maybe even manifest it. And I use that term in a way that I would like to define, because I know there's a lot of different ways that manifesting is defined. I believe manifesting is having gratitude, absolute gratitude for where you are, and taking full out action towards what you want. So manifesting doesn't just necessarily mean you're sitting and you are meditating and visualizing and feeling the emotion, although all of that is important. Knowing where you're going and having confidence and seeing it before you seek it, right? But it's also the hard work and the intentional action that you take towards your goals. And the commitment. So a lot of the times, if I'm trying to learn something new or I'm trying to level up, I have sticky notes everywhere, by the way. I would have sticky notes and it shows me every day what my task list is, every day what I need to learn. Sometimes that list is really long and I only get to cross off one thing. Sometimes I don't cross off anything because it's going to take me a month or two to learn it, right? But I see that list until it's done and I can see it through. And when I see it daily, it's something that I can focus on and become better at. When you become the person required to create what you want, you have zero limits to what you create. Okay. You know that if you don't have an answer for somebody, you don't have a solution, that you have the resources and you have the capability of finding the solution and helping them. You also can identify your limitations because you have that self-awareness and the limiting beliefs that you have and develop a strategy to overcome them, right? Maybe it's using certain tools when you get frustrated. My mom taught me very young, the 24-hour rule. If you get upset and emotional about something because somebody's hurt you or triggered you in some way, take 24 hours to reflect on that before you have a response. And you'll have a different response when you take the emotion out of it and you are working with facts. So maybe use a tool like that. Maybe you go to a certain trusted friend or mentor or counselor when you need to work through some of the difficult things, right? Because energy and emotion is absolutely everything. And you have to understand that that piece of you that is energy exchange with somebody else, okay, that emotion is something that you are fully responsible for and that you have to heal through it like you work through physical discomfort with massage, physiotherapy, chiropractic work, right? You have to work through that emotionally. You have to work through that mentally. And so I'm going to leave you with this. How do you want to be remembered? If you want to talk about your highest level of being, right? If you want to talk about aligning your identity to your highest purpose, just want to make sure I got everything today. How do you want to be remembered? What do you want your legacy to be? When you die, have you ever done this exercise and actually written out your obituary and how you want to be remembered by your friends, your family, your community, your network, right? What do you want your legacy to be? It takes one person to overcome and break generational curses. It takes one person to have the courage to take risks, to commit to creating generational wealth through impact. What are you committing to doing long term? And I want you to commit to finding joy in this process. That's the last piece I'm going to leave you with, is once you know who you want to help and how you want to help, find joy in this process. Find joy in the fact that you don't have any rules. You don't have anybody to tell you what to do. You get to create exactly what you want. You get to create your schedule. You get to create your lifestyle. You get to create an income, maybe an income that you can give back more than you ever could before. What are you doing today to take a step towards that space and that outcome? Are you finding joy in the activities that you do every day? And by the way, I know that there are things that you don't really want to do in business. You can hire them out. You can hire an expert if you're not good at something. That's totally fine. But when you commit to aligning yourself with your highest purpose, your highest level of identity, learning to find joy in the process as you create, as you overcome challenges, learning to laugh in the process, that's what'll serve you long term. I hope this was helpful for you today. I'm excited. I have got a really great lineup for you coming for the next couple of weeks. I'll tell you a little bit, I'll give you a little sneak peek about what we're going to talk about. So next week, we're going to talk about absolute ownership, because nobody's coming to save you, okay? But how to use adversity and feedback to evolve and getting to that next level of self-awareness. So you just get better and better and better, and you can use criticism to actually propel yourself forward. The week after that, number 5, okay, is connection and community and what it takes to build community and long-term success in business with your trusted clients. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to build that out and how to continue to grow a massive network of people that will not only buy from you, but will refer you. And then the last week, we're going to talk about what it takes to lead in this new era and what you're going to have to be willing to do to stand out, to give a higher level of service, to be the unignorable, to have that unshakable faith in your vision, and to be convicted in your beliefs so that you can innovate and create creative solutions for today. But today, I just want you to know that you're on the right path. If you're sitting here and you're listening to this podcast series and you want more out of 2024, you want more in your life, you want to create a higher level of business, a higher level of impact, and you want to help people in a bigger way, you're in the right place at the right time with the right people that are committed to being in alignment with you and being in alignment with your vision. And so continue to commit to that highest vision of yourself and align every decision that you make to creating that next step, that next level. All you have to know is what's the next right move for you right now, and commit to completing that until you see the next step. Hope that's helpful for you today. Make sure that you share this podcast with a friend if you find it valuable. Make sure that you are in my group Life Transformed, as it's a free Facebook group that you will get a ton of value out of, and you are more than welcome to connect with me on social media and ask questions and have conversation. I am currently offering a free business audit for any of you that are looking to increase sales and business and impact and outreach over the next year. And I encourage you to take advantage of that. I'd love to have a conversation with you. So thank you again for another episode of Freedom Motivated in this 6-part series, A New Era of Leadership. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another inspiring episode of Freedom Motivated with your host, me, Christina Whiteley. We hope that the stories we've shared today have sparked a fire within you and ignited your passion for living life on your terms. Remember, true freedom lies in the choices we make and the actions we take. So go out there and embrace your journey. Take the leap of faith, believe in yourself, and never settle for less than what you deserve. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the Freedom Motivated podcast and never miss out on our upcoming interviews with more incredible entrepreneurs and freedom leaders. Be bold. Be brave, be disruptive. You are capable of things far beyond your wildest dreams if you just have the courage to go for it. Thank you for being a part of this incredible community. Until next time, may you always be driven by the desire for freedom and motivated to make your dreams a reality.